So I will be the first to admit these readings kind of stumped me this week. They were a little bit tough to get through. I don't know about any of y'all, but my mind is a little more simpler than these readings were this week. I think when I really sat down and prayed about it, I think I was getting in my own way. Because really it's simple. What are we doing to ensure our spot in the kingdom of God? Are we living our lives? Are we opening our hearts and our minds and our homes and to other people who need us? Today, the first reading kind of reminded me, my nieces. Luckily, my nieces are with me all the time. And I was struggling, and I was talking out loud about the first reading. And one of my nieces says, "Theo, are you talking about a genie?" I'm like, well, no. And even Jordan's face was like, what are you talking about? God's no genie. God's greater than a genie, right? But what would you do? Solomon was a young guy, okay? And I'm a little young, I guess. And so I know myself, and I know at a young age, if given, essentially that's what he was given, a genie, to rub, and he was granted something. And he could have asked God for a lot of things. He was a king, right? He could have asked for more riches. He could have asked for more women, more property, more power, but he didn't. What did he ask God for? For wisdom. Oftentimes we can probably find ourselves with people in our lives, people that we work with, people that we live with, our wives, our husbands. When we really should be trying to pray God, rather than condemning them, casting judgment on them. Oh, I don't understand why so-and-so does this, that, or the other. Pray to God, ask God for wisdom. How do we deal with these people? I've taken on a new role in my personal life. I'm a general manager now. And part of that has been asking God for wisdom, asking God for guidance. When I first got to the position, I told God, wherever you want me to be, that's where I'm going to be. But also with that comes, I need God to help me understand that I'm not always right. I can't do it on my own. And really today's first reading, that's what stuck with me. This guy could have asked for anything. I know what I would have asked. Solomon knew that heavy is the head that wears the crown. Solomon knew what kind of responsibility he had. Brothers and sisters, we also have a responsibility. To those that we come to church with, to those we live with, to those we come in contact with every single day. So for the last couple weeks, Jesus has been speaking in parables. I don't know about you. So these parables, Jesus told parables in order to more concretely illustrate for us what exactly it's going to look like in God's kingdom and how we can get that. I don't know about you, but some of these embellishments kind of threw me for a loop. So it really took me some prayer. And what I really thought about today, in particular, the parables we hear today, Jesus, so he used these parables to illustrate for us what we can do in order to gain God's kingdom. The merchant finds an expensive pearl, and we also hear about the treasure that we find. Now, at first I was like, wow, they find it, they sell it, they find it again. What are they talking about? First of all, what I took from that was, if we're walking and we're doing what God wants us to do, not everybody's gonna always understand that. People are gonna look at us sometimes a little bit weird, not understanding what we're talking about. Not everybody reads the Gospels. Not everybody, tries to live the Gospels the way we should try to live them. So it's not for everybody to understand what we're doing, what God has told us. It's for us to understand. And as long as we understand what God's told us, who cares? And that's what I got from the Gospels, that it's not for everybody to understand. Another part that kind of I liked about the Gospel was the image of casting a net. God's kingdom is like casting a net, and it catches not just one type of fish, not just one little sea turtle. It catches all kinds of fish. And as a member of an inclusive Catholic church, what a beautiful image. Many of us probably have felt a time or two where the net was being cast and we just weren't part of that. Here at Holy Family, everybody is engulfed in that net. When I walked in and saw that today is Friendship Day, if you look at that, to me, I kind of see a net. Brothers and sisters, I feel like this week we're called to cast our nets and try and catch a little more of people that, that we could help. Part of the gospel too, though, says that they cast the net and the good fish will be kept and the others will be thrown away. Brothers and sisters, how are we living our lives day in and day out to ensure that we're not going to be tossed aside with the bad fish? Maria, good face. I don't know about you, but I know how bad fish, smells. It's not a pleasant to be around. Brothers and sisters, this week, let's really open our minds and open our hearts to see how it is that we can further expand on the Gospels in a loving, inclusive way, and making sure that people around us feel that loving, inclusive themes that we read in the Gospel.